First of all, as for me, I have to say that I was 13 when the Islamic Revolution struck Iran in 1979. Soon after that, you know, the war erupted in between Iran and Iraq. So I voluntarily participated in the war. After that, when I got admission to the university, Tehran University, I've got my bachelor in philosophy, in particular Western philosophy, which prepared for me the ground to get into to know the philosophy or the thoughts, political thoughts in the Western hemisphere. And after that, I got a job in the foreign ministry of Iran. Then I turned to be Iranian diplomat under Islamic Republic. So I was believing in the Islamic Republic. I was believing to Khomeini as the founder of Islamic revolution and the Republic of Iran, Islamic Republic of Iran, until then I continued my study as in Master in International Relations. Later, by the emergence of the Green Movement of Iran back to 2009, when the political system rigged the election, manipulated the election to re-elect Ahmadinejad for his second term.
Well, we don't want to get into that much detail. Let's skip over to the point where you basically moved away from. So you were part of the regime, you were a politician in the regime, you were part of the foreign ministry, and at some point you decided to give all that up.
Yeah,
and you turned against the regime.
It was exactly. Yeah, it was exactly after the Green Movement when they cracked down people. So a number of the Iranian diplomats stepped down from the career in Italy, in Belgium, in Norway, and in Finland, where I was charge d'affaires of Iran embassy. After that, I totally felt that I am disconnected from the regime and its theoretical, its ideological background. So then I started my PhD in Finland, and the book, which is I'm going to discuss about, is the outcome of my PhD result, my dissertation, which is entitled the Ummah. So what is the Ummah and things like that? I will get to that whenever you're ready.
Right. So just to be clear, the book, the Ummah, is going to go through the history of the political side of Islam for the past, like, ever after Ataturk ended the caliphate, like I think recent history of Islam since World War I, I think, till now, right? And basically using understanding how the Islamic ideology framed the current understanding of politics in Islam, and then based on that, making sense of the spread of Islam using the concept of Ummah, because I think a lot of people don't understand the political nature of the concept of Ummah in Islam, because a lot of people think that the concept of Ummah, it just refers to the community of Muslims, right? But it's a lot more complicated and a lot more nuanced and detailed than that. If you understand this concept effectively, in detail, you will be able to make sense of a lot of other things that are happening with Hamas, with Hezbollah, with the Islamic Republic of Iran, with Hezbollah Tahrir, with ISIS, and how the three main sources of power right now in Islamic politics, which is Wahhabism, Muslim Brotherhood, and Khomeinism, or the Vilayat Faqih version of Shia Islam, how they are all connected, what unites them, what divides them, and what unites them. And this will, do you think it's correct for me to say that whoever understands these concepts in more detail, they will be able to address it a lot better. Like they will be more equipped in being able to tackle it. And I think it's, given how big of a threat right now this threat of Islamism is to the world, I think this is essential knowledge for people to have. Would you agree, or do you think that if there's anything that you want to add or correct about what I just said?
Yeah, well, you very properly touched the very importance and cruciality of this book. I mean, this is not a book to put it in the shelf. No, this is the book you have to read it and think it and study about that, and then to see that what is the background behind these all movements, Islamic movements in the region, not only in the region of the Middle East, but also around the world, because you can find Muslims and Islamists everywhere in the world, in the States, in Canada, in Britain, in anywhere. And it's really a matter for the worldwide to understand that what is the Islamism or pan-Islamism, and why all are struggling to rebuild the Ummah. So is it, so the question of the book is to answer what is the Ummah and what does it stand for? What is its implication in today world politics? Because Armin, I mean, normally, if you just make a quick search in any dictionary, the notation it gives to you is that the Ummah is means the community or the society of Muslim faithful, Muslim believers. That's all. But the question is this: isn't it a very neutral definition? It's a very neutral definition. Like if I say the community of Baha'is, or if I say community of Christians, of community of Jews, it's neutral. You don't feel any danger in this definition. If you say it is a community of Muslim believers, so there are a group of people gathered together, so they share something between themselves. But if I bring for you that behind this theologic definition is a political definition, a political new concept, a hidden political concept is in this term of Ummah, then you'll touch that why it is too crucial to understand it in the new context I'm going to do. So first, as I've said, as I've told you, I've studied international relations in my master and PhD. So I was able, so coming from Iran, from a Shia society, from a Muslim society, from Middle East, then having the experience of working in a political system, I mean, Islamic Republic of Iran for 22 years. And then after that, putting all my thoughts and experience together to understand what this Ummah, what does this Ummah stand for. Look, Armin, to show you, to touch and to demonstrate the importance and significance of our discussion today and the importance of this book. I think it's shared for you. Yes, is it shared?
Yes, I can see it. Yeah.
It's shared. Okay. So the importance of the book is another question. The question is this: we see that Hossein al-Banna, the founder of
Before you get into that, I just want to give, because now we're getting into the meat of it, I just want to give an overview, a big picture of what we're going to be doing. And now you could start, because everything starts with Hossein Banna, right? Everything starts with this man. But I just wanted people to understand the journey that we're about to go in, right? So we're going to talk about the origins of modern political Islam. So which starts with Hassan Banna, right? And then once we explain the origins, we're going to go explain how this eventually came to Iran, like from Egypt to Iran. Like how did it eventually made it to its way to Iran? How eventually the Islamic Republic in Iran became the main force behind the spread of, right today is now the main spread of political Islam around the region and globally, because the main forces right now behind political Islam, the politics in Islam, are political force in Islam are Wahhabism and Muslim Brotherhood and Vilayat Faqih of the Islamic Republic of Iran. These are the three forces. And for people to understand what each one of these are, the Wahhabism's the way Wahhabism expressed itself in taking over the world or starting a caliphate and spreading the Islamic Ummah, people know that by products like ISIS or Al Qaeda. Like that's the result of the spread of Wahhabism. Or when it comes to Muslim Brotherhood, people know mostly Hamas or the Islamism in Turkey or Qatar. These are what we know, like the demonstrations of the force of Muslim Brotherhood today. These are what people remember and know them for. Or when it comes to the third one, which I would argue is now the greatest force when it comes to a global takeover of the Islamic Ummah, because I would say that the Muslim Brotherhood project is now a failed project because the greatest demonstrations of their strength is Hamas. It failed to have any other state anywhere in the world. So they failed. And I would say Wahhabism also failed because their greatest ambition for having a state was eventually was ISIS. But Wahhabism is now failed in Saudi Arabia, and ISIS is also now a failed project. So this third one, which is the remaining one, is the only one that is actually managed to turn into a state and has global ambitions for taking over the world. And we're not exaggerating when it comes to their ambitions in taking over the world. And we will make that very clear. Like you will make that very clear during this show. You will see that. So the third one, which is the Shia Vilayat Faqih version of Islam, that's the only project right now that has the most amount of success when it comes to making this dream of bringing back the Islamic Ummah and dividing the world into Dar al-Harb and Dar al-Islam, or the two blocks that as you would explain, Western powers against Islamic powers. That's what I would argue is the only successful remaining force. And that's why when we start with the origins of this ideology in Egypt with Sunni Islam, which is Muslim Brotherhood, has its roots in Sunni Islam, but we'll see how that evolves and comes to Iran and emerges ideas from Shia Islam with ideas from Muslim Brotherhood, which has Sunni origins, and then this whole new concept of Vilayat Faqih is born out of it from Khomeini, and that leads to the 1979 Islamic Revolution. Would you say that was, I just wanted to give a big picture, would you say that was an accurate description of what we're about to,
you're very properly, very properly, you touched the general idea, but I was going to explain that despite all the diversity we find in all Islamist group, no matter whether Shia or Sunni, or in Shia, whether Shia 12 imams or four imams, Houthis or Shia in Iran or in Yemen, in Iraq, no matter which Sunni you are from, whether Hanafis or Shafis or Malikis or Hanbalis, no matter to which political Islamist group you belong, all wish to recreate, to rebuild the Ummah. So the scratching question for me during all these 6 years I was conducting my PhD was that, what is this Ummah that everybody is looking for? From Hassan al-Banna, from Sayyid Qutb, Let me show you with pictures. So here you see all these figures. First one, this is the first one is Jamaluddin Asadabadi, and the second one is Muhammad Abdo. The third one is Rashid Reza. The fourth one is Al Kawakebi. And here, that these figures are, there were theoreticians, but these are political activists. This is Hassan al-Banna, the founder of the Muslim Brotherhood, and this is Sayyid Qutb, who has played a very tremendously has played a very significant role in bringing Islam as ideology. Look, some people look to Islam as a religion, but this man has brought it as an ideology of Islam. And the third one is Abu Ala Maududi from India, and this fourth one is An-Nabhani from Palestine, who has created a very broad party, Islamist party around the world named Hizb ut-Tahrir. Armin, I'm pretty sure that you know that this Hizb ut-Tahrir party has different branches in the Canada, United States, Britain, France, Australia, and two other many countries. So to me, the question was this, Armin: why all these different and diverse figures, Islamist groups and people and individuals, starting from Jamaluddin Asadabadi and ending to Khomeini and Khamenei, why all are looking to recreate the Ummah?
Yes,
I don't know whether
you argue.
I could.
And you argue that this is the most unifying force. Like it's not Salat, it's not Tawheed, it's not Zakat, it's not the Hajj. None of these are a unifying force in Islam. Even the concept of the oneness of God is not a unifying force in Muslims. You're saying that this concept of Ummah, by the way, because I usually argue that anti-Semitism is a unifying force among Muslims, but that also plays into this concept of Ummah. That's actually a subcategory of the concept of Ummah, and we will explain why anti-Israeli positions, anti-Western positions, all of that will start making sense if we look at everything through this lens of understanding the Ummah. So is it correct for you, based on my understanding of your book, is that you think that the concept of Ummah is what unites Muslims from Reformist Muslims, Sunni Muslims, Shia Muslims, whatever, all of them. Okay, so how so?
The entire Muslim community, as I've said, the Muslim community by itself is a neutral, doesn't have any political implication. You are a group of the Muslims gathered together. So this is the Ummah, but not. If I give you another definition, which I will go to that just quickly right now, then you will touch that. You understand that? Oh, by that theological definition, they are using a political implication of the Ummah in the international context. And what is that? I have brought a very new definition. In fact, the contribution of my book is in two words only. In the contribution of book is to say that the Ummah in political Islam means Muslim bloc. So, what does Muslim bloc mean?
Bloc.
Muslim bloc.
Bloc, yes.
Bloc. So, what is the bloc? So, if you remember, the term bloc has entered into international literature during the Cold War, Armin. You know, during the Cold War, the word was divided in two, a Western bloc and an Eastern bloc. the Washington and Moscow. So when we say bloc, I mean, it is exactly, when I'm saying Muslim bloc, it is exactly in the context of the international terminology.
Mm-hmm.
So if the word in a binary division, in a dichotomy division, in a dual division during the bipolar system was divided in two, East and West, Eastern Bloc and Western Bloc. So the question is this.
Mm-hmm.
When they consider the Ummah as one Muslim bloc, so in fact, they are referring to the exactly same terminology. So that was a conflict between Eastern Communist Bloc and Western Liberal Bloc during the Cold War. But now they are saying that we are one entity, one unity. We are one, no matter where you reside, no matter where you live, no matter which race you are coming from, no matter which language you speak, no matter which religion of Islam you have. As a Muslim, we are one entity, one single unified entity, as we have been before. So look here, this is important. This is very crucial. They argue, they claim that previously, I mean, centuries ago, Muslims had upper hand. Muslims had their own civilization dominating around the world by noting that when they say we have one single unity, they are referring to during the caliphate. Which caliphate? The last caliphate of Ottomans. Let me show you in pictures.
Before you do that, can I every time you say something, I want to summarize it to the audience what I understood you said, so that we all are on the same page, and then you could confirm if I got it right or not, and then we will move to the next phase, right? So the way I interpret everything you just said is that we have something. This goes back into the core of Islam. Even though we're looking at it from a modern framework, these are basically translation or interpretations of what has been in Islam from the origin, from the beginning. So Islamically, if the way that we look at the world is that we divide the world into Dar al-Harb and Dar al-Islam. So the Islamic politics, it basically looks at the world, and whatever it's Islamic, it calls that, Islam, the House of Islam, or whatever it's not Islamic, it calls that the House of War, right? So anywhere, the reason that we calls it war, because basically it's a place that you are at war. Anywhere that is not Islamic, you are at war with. And that's how they divide the world into Islamic and non-Islamic. That's the core. Before we even had this. Yep, go on. Yep.
No. Let me correct you. First of all, you got me true. You heard me right. That yes, in a binary division, as I've said, like as the Cold War and the bipolar system, they now are theorizing that the world again is divided in two. In one side,
I'm getting
in one side is the Adab or the House of Islam. And in the other side, they are not, clearly pointing out to the Dar al-Harb. They say Dar al-Kufr, infidel house, the house of infidelity, the house of, or the Adab of infidelity. So when they say infidelity, it means that whoever and whatever is not Islamic. As for it is not Islamic, so we are different. Here is an important point. This is called the process of othering. Other comes from other. So it means that we as a Muslim have our ummatic identity. We are one single ummah, no matter where you reside, what language you speak, which branches of Islam, which denominations of Islam do you have, or do you pray or you do not pray, do you practice Islam or do not practice Islam, whatsoever. As a Muslim, we are one unity. That and against us there is the adab of Darul Kufr. What is important here? What is important here to touch it is that when they say we have this unity, and they are referring to some, I call it the delusion of a what they call as the Islamic Golden Age.
Right.
Islamic Golden Age. So they believe that in a period of time, I mean, for centuries, from 19th to 16th centuries, almost, it was the golden age of Islam, in which the sciences, military advantages, military or literature or culture, all was flourishing in around the Muslim country. When we had this, look at my.
Before I wanted to finish that, I wanted to finish my impression of what you said, my interpretation of what you said before you get into that. So let me finish that part, because I want to make sure we're all on the same page with the audience, right? So that the division of the world into Darul Kufr, the house of infidels, and the house of Islam, that predates modern politics. That's ancient, right? But what you just said earlier is the translation of that Islamic understanding of the world into the modern concept. Like, we had the Cold War, and the Cold War divided the world.
Let's call it reconstruction. Let's call it reconstruction of the old and ancient one to the new version today.
Yes, the new version, which the Muslims look at the modern politics and saw that we have a Western bloc and we have the Soviet Union as its own bloc, the communists versus the capitalists, the communists versus the liberals, right? And they basically, their understanding was that Islamic idea translated into this modern concept would mean that Darul Islam, or the House of Islam, would be an Islamic bloc. The Islamic Ummah, which predates modern politics, the translation of that into modern politics would be an Islamic bloc. So just like we had the Soviet Union as a superpower versus Western, like United States and other her allies, as a superpower, their vision of the current world today is to be, again, make the world into two superpowers. One of them is the Western superpowers, and which are the enemy of the Islamic superpower. They want Islam. They want to go back to how it was before, where we had everyone against Islam, and you're fighting. You as a superpower is fighting against everybody who's not Islamic. They want to be the Soviet Union of the Cold War that we had before. They want to be the other side and eventually win and take over the world. Right? Okay, so with that framework, that what we had Islam before, it was an Islamic empire, so they were imperialist. But the modern version of that, if you look at what the Soviet Union was doing, or the British Empire, or the new modern version of that, is that this is colonialism. So we had Islamic imperialism before, and now the modern version of that would be what they want to do, an Islamic colonialist project. Would you say that would be a fair description of what they're trying to achieve, or what their ambitions and goals are? Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yes,
so
fair
let's
enough.
get into
fair enough.
Okay.
Yeah, fair
All
enough.
right, great.
Actually, as I have said, in the concept of bloc, no matter during Cold War or today, it is a process of the othering. So you make an enemy for yourself. You create you have your identity based on Islam today, before based on the communism. Today you have your singular unity based on the Ummatic identity, and we are who we are, and they are other. So this is the process of othering. So you find in fact, you are defining yourself with another enemy. So if you are not that enemy, you are us. You see,
Right.
if you are not that, if you do not belong to that block, so you belong to us. So
Right.
here is a very, I mean, here is a danger of the Umatic identity. Or I mean, the definition I am touching as the Ummah to mean or to denote as a Muslim bloc is not neutral. Like as if you say it is just a gathering of a community of society of the Muslim faithful. No, it is not. It is it denotes that if we want to be united, then we need to have to create our state. Here is the importance of the point, because without having the state, how you can create a unity between members of a society. So in the political context, the political context always refers to the power, to might. So might is right. As far as you are not able to create your state, your Islamic state, don't forget that Daesh, the terrorist group of Daesh, when they create
people don't know Daesh. ISIS. People know ISIS. Yeah.
ISIS, yes, ISIS or ISIL. When they created their state, they called it what? Islamic State. Remember, Islamic State. So Islamic State is in fact a hardware for a software. And what is that software? The software is a theoretical and ideological belief in unifying the all Muslim around the world. How many Muslims? 1.6 billion. 1.6 billion with the diversity of quite huge territory.